welcome back to Stories of the Paranow. My name is Sebastian, and joined by Tyler Miley and our special guest, Warwick Price, the owner of Ghoulish Mortals in St. Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here and taking the time to come talk to us about the Stories of the Paranow.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And as always, don't forget to check us out on YouTube at 216 Creator Studios. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Ding the bell for notifications. And as always, we appreciate the support. And without further ado, we're going to get right into it. So, Mr. Warwick Price, one thing I was curious about is how does your store, Ghoulish Mortals, how does something like that, a store so niche, come about?
Basically, my wife and I have always loved horror. We used to live in California, and we used to do home haunts. So for about the last 9 years before we moved out here, we did home haunts going always around our house. They got bigger and more elaborate. They started off as a charity thing for my son's school. And then when the kids grew up and they didn't want the lame kid-friendly version that we were doing, they wanted to be a little more scarier. We stopped giving money to the school and started doing it for us, just for charity, for our own charity, basically.
Yeah. And would you be able to, for the audience that might not know what a home haunt is, would you be able to explain what that is a bit?
Yeah, sure. So basically, the last year we did it, our house, we lived in two different houses, and we're fortunate enough that in both cases you were able to walk around the outside of our house. So last year we had 8 different themed areas that people would walk through, and we had a total of like 26 actors. So people would walk through, go around the house, winding through like a maze, and come out the other side. So it'd like take about 5, maybe 10 minutes to walk through. But yeah, so the whole concept obviously is the fact that it's like a haunted house, but at your home.
Yeah.
So we always were kind of good at building things. We moved out here for my job, and we originally thought it would be cool because we could finally afford to have a house with a little bit of land, and we could finally do like a really cool home haunt in our garden. And then we realized it gets cold in October.
Oh yeah,
In Illinois, yes, very.
No, yeah, you end up getting a lot of like, oh, that's a zombie wearing a parka.
There was a couple years ago, this Halloween. It snowed, and it was just a shame to see all the costumes covered up by like the little coats.
Well, and it's crazy because, and I guess flip the other way. It's like California, we would have like 86-degree Halloween nights. And like that's what we thought things were, but like obviously, it is obviously better when it's colder. But anyway, so we moved out here, and again, I had a full-time job, but my wife kind of wanted something to do. She was a children's photographer for many years in California, and so very creative. And slight tangent, there's a big show that happens every year in St. Louis called Transworld, and it's the haunted attraction show, and that's basically every haunt, whether you're a home haunt or you're Not Scary Farm or your Magic Mountain or wherever, that's generally where people go to buy the big animatronics and
that's so cool.
It's almost like the Comic-Con of
wondered about that sort of thing before, because I've always wondered, like, because clearly it's not all coming from Spirit Halloween, because they got like 5 animatronics, and other people have like a lot of like crazy stuff. So I've always sort of wondered where people get stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely, and it truly is one of these things where when you go to something like Transworld, the next time you walk into Spirit Halloween, you go, this is absolute crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's like you just don't, like, when that's all you think Spirit Halloween is like the best thing that ever happens once a year. It's like when you go to Transworld, you realize it isn't.
You can never go back.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is like professional grade.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's like you can buy like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 animatronics.
My wow.
Is any of it like custom made or anything like that?
Yeah, almost all of it is. Basically, it's like a lot of these makers, they have standard, kind of models that they display. But if you want you know, you don't want a big pumpkin head guy. You want like to have an alien head on it, but it's the same mechanics underneath. You know, you can change it.
Yeah.
How you'd like. So yeah, it is basically custom. And again, some of it is just super expensive.
Yes.
But it's really cool. Anyway, so it's a 4.5 hours drive down to St. Louis.
Yeah.
And the first year we went down there, my wife and I were just kind of like talking about different things that we wanted to do. And we love going to horror conventions and conventions in general. In California, we'd go to Comdex. Not Comdex, sorry.
Comic-Con?
Comic-Con, thank you.
In San Diego?
Yes.
Yeah.
We used to go all the time. And you'd always get the artist alley, like local artists with, you know, displaying their works.
Yeah, for sure.
And we said, wouldn't it be cool if you could have an artist alley 365 days a year?
Yeah.
Yes.
And we started like researching as I'm driving, my wife's like, you know, kind of playing around with stuff. And there were a core group of artists that we knew from California that we had their artwork. And so driving back, we were looking for leasing opportunities, and there was a place in St. Charles that hadn't been leased for a while, and the rent was pretty reasonable, and we rented it.
That is because I've been going to your store for a few years.
Yeah.
And that is one of the coolest parts is like finding all of the artwork. Like I have it's in my house. Like I have like a kaiju style painting or print of like a Pokemon that I picked up from there like 5-6 years ago, and it's cool. Like you can find stuff there that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah, as the resident goth, I buy a lot of stuff from your.
Yeah, I think in some of our episodes, we had a skeleton that we would just mess around with that I got from your store. So just like a random like skeleton or whatever that we would just play with on the show. So
yeah, it's cool. I mean, when we opened 7.5 years ago now, we had 6 artists in the store, and those were the 6 artists that my wife had on her list because we had their artwork. We reached out to them, and they were all nice enough to work consignment for us because we were broke and didn't have any real money.
Right.
And they helped fill the store. But, you know, we put the call out for local artists. And it sounds really weird, but like coming from LA, where obviously you have Hollywood and that kind of industry there, it's like we assumed that, you know, all the best artwork is obviously going to be on the West Coast or the East Coast. And like what could possibly be in Chicago? Oh God, we were just blown away by the quality of art, and especially horror art.
Oh yeah.
Like in this community. So we now are well over 190 artists, and we still are around like 70% local artists.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we're always looking for new people coming in. But like, what's funny is in those original days, we had lots of blank space on our wall. Now we have hardly any blank space on our wall.
Yeah.
So when we bring a new artist in, it generally means that someone else is coming down.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's cool.
Is there anything in particular, like artwork wise, that sticks out like over the years that's like kind of come through your store? Anything that like just like you could think off the top of your head where you looked at and you're like, this is something else?
So actually, it's really funny. My favorite piece of art in our store is a piece by one of our original artists, Ghoulish Bunny Studios. She has this piece it's called The Mirror, and it's a black and white piece of this girl, very much like the Ring type situation.
Oh, just long dark hair.
Yeah, long dark hair, and look in the mirror, and then she has a single tear coming down that's in blood.
Yeah.
Every time I walk past it, it's still my favorite like picture that we have.
I find it funny you were saying that your wife was a children's photographer. One of my favorite things that you guys do is you offer around Easter time, you offer this sort of devil bunny photos. Yeah, Peter Rottentail. Yeah, that was the name of it. Did that sort of come from like your wife's sort of like children's photo 100%. Work?
Yeah. It's funny. It's like my wife, she just loves she was always the I don't know if you guys know the name, but like Ann Geddes style photography, which Ann Geddes made her name in like putting the child in like a pea pod. or like all those things where it was all like themed photography.
Yeah.
So just like weird things. So that's what my wife would do back in California, and we had like thousands of clients, some fairly well-known clients as well. So yeah, she really loved doing the photography, loved doing kids photography, but we switched to the horror stuff just because it was easier for her to do, and also nowadays everyone with an iPhone or an Android phone, it's like the quality of your cameras now are like our professional camera that we spent like about $6,000 on was like I think 12 megapixels.
Yeah.
And now your average phone has 48 megapixels.
Yeah.
And also just the style of what people want in a photograph is different now. Everyone is more into like journalistic style photos of the kids and stuff, them running around the park and things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so like what my wife used to do as a business is probably not sustainable as a business now. But these one-off things, it's really, really popular. It's like we sell out of the Peter Rottentail and generally always add an additional weekend for it. So it's a lot of fun.
I find it funny. St. Charles, not exactly known as like an artistic sort of like niche sort of community. You guys are right downtown. Like you guys are like right in the middle of everything. And you do really well. Like is a lot of it sort of like local traffic? Do people come in because they've heard of the store, like
or just sticks out like because
it is a perfect little corner spot to stick out. Plus the tentacles on the front of the building kind of help bring people in, I imagine.
Yeah, because it's like you see bar, and then it's like, what is this?
It's fine. So we picked that location because of Rocket Fizz. And Kitty Corner to it. We thought that was a perfect location. St. Charles has actually been really good to us. They gave us like various grants to do stuff to the outside of the building. And they've been kind of a good partner that, we wouldn't necessarily have thought they would be.
Yeah.
Our big frustration now is that they seem to still be pushing the idea of more bars and more bars and more bars and more retail. Right. It's like, there needs to be more reason for people to come to St. Charles. That's my little dig at St. Charles City Council. But
figure your shit out.
Less bars, more spoopy stores.
Well, it's one of these things where it's like I'm the last person that would ever say that I want taxes in any way, shape, or form. But St. Charles does not have a business license.
Okay.
And part of what you get when you have a business license is your ability to start tracking what businesses you have in your city and start saying, hey, we don't need another bar. Let's do it for something else.
Yeah.
Anyway, off my tax bracket. But yeah, St. Charles it's a great location, and to be honest, the pricing for the lease on our property, if we had that same place in Geneva, it would have been just like way more expensive. And I don't know that Geneva is our clientele. Any city that can support like 2 olive oil stores.
Jeeps for police vehicles? What is with that?
Well, the whole tri-city of St. Charles, Geneva, Batavia is like all over the place in terms of like you drive through those 3 towns and it's like going through 3 different states sometimes. So it's like especially through the downtowns.
Why does 3rd Street have 7 different ladies consignment stores in the same little 50 feet? Who is buying things from each of these stores?
In case you missed the first one.
It's drug money, I swear to God. Several of them have to be, right?
Yeah, my wife and I say the same thing all the time. It's like, it's a front for drugs.
It has to be.
I've never gone into any of those stores and been like, oh, I really like this and I can afford it. I'm taking it home. I've always looked at it and gone, oh, a t-shirt exactly like the one I'm wearing, but for $200.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So Geneva was not the place. We have gone back and forth. It's like there are times where we've had, I know she won't be listening, so I'll say anyway, we have times where we've had issues with our landlord. And there are times when we do sometimes think that maybe we should look at another place because we're maxed out in size. Like we have no more room. We have the upstairs that is where our theater room is, but there's no way to get to the upstairs from the inside of the store. You have to go around the side of the building. And as much as our landlord has said, it's like, well, if you want to knock a door through, you can do that. I don't want to pay $20,000-$30,000 to do that door through on a building I don't own.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's like St. Charles that's our town. It's like people know us there. It's like I don't think we'd move it anywhere.
So probably one final question before we kind of get going into the meat and potatoes. Has any? This is such an odd question, but has anyone tried to bring something that they claimed was haunted into your store?
I don't think so. I will say we do get lots of people that assume that just because we're a horror store, we'll take, this is some horror model from 1954, or, just weird random stuff. I mean, the good news, one of the good things that did happen now that we have a gurney downstairs that kind of indirectly came from, it's like from 1883. And so there's been some dead people on that gurney.
Oh yeah.
And that indirectly
definitely haunted. Yeah.
Someone said, hey, it's like, is there something you'd be interested in? And we've had some of those kind of things. We've had people offer us complete autopsy setups.
Wow.
From like 1950s, 1960s. We just don't have room for it. But like not necessarily something they've claimed to be haunted or like an Annabelle doll or something.
Yeah, like, can you give me $50,000 for this haunted painting? I swear it's haunted. Trust me.
Yes.
My sources trust me.
It came to me in a dream.
Goodwill told me it was.
Certainly.
Unofficially, the gurney is for sure haunted, though.
It's I mean it's an interesting, like when you look at it, it's like it's had some life, it's like, or some death, as they say.
Kind of the opposite.
Life, death, and many things in between.
All right. So, without further ado, we're going to get into it. Right now, we're going to talk about possessions. So, initially, what are your first thought of the idea of like spiritual or demonic or possessions of any sort? What is your first initial thought?
I would initially say BS. However, we have had some kids in the store that I think definitely are demonic.
Yeah.
I think they are the demons, not that they're possessed.
The most insidious demon of all.
Children.
Middle class entitlement.
Oh God. I'm telling you. It's so really the worst ones are it's the kids that are in the 6 to 9 year old range, where the parents literally are oblivious to what they do. They're running around the store. They touching everything. They've never heard the phrase "look with your eyes, not with your hands." And
I mean, they haven't even started on no yet. I don't.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's like, and then when you try and, we've had bad reviews. If you look at some of our, we've only had a handful of 1-star reviews. Yeah. But if you read the 1-star reviews, they're all about the same thing. It's all about where, generally the child is doing something bad. The parents are doing nothing about stopping them. We step in and tell them to stop doing something, and then they go in a huff and walk out.
Rude to my child.
And they give it a 1-star review.
Oh yeah.
That said, if you are bringing your kid into any store that is selling art, please encourage them to touch with their eyes, not their hands.
Yes.
And be respectful. People spend a lot of time on everything being sold.
Yes. I agree.
Also, don't bring your 5-year-old into this kind of store. I don't know what they're going to get out of the experience. I don't
like. So I go both ways with that, because it's like, yes, for the demonic ones, 100% agree. But we have lots of really cool kids that come in the store. We have lots of families that are well into horror, And we'll have 5-year-olds that will go, "Oh, look, there's Freddy, and there's Jason, and there's Leatherface." And,
all right, that's cute.
And it's like
we know a kid like that, Tyler.
Maybe kids are okay.
We know a family like that.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, I'm not like painting a broad brush of 5 to 9-year-olds.
No,
I'm generally painting the brush for the parents that are oblivious to what their kids do.
Yeah.
And you just said, have never been taught the word no.
yes,
Certainly.
but they are the closest thing to demons that we have.
Yes.
So you don't believe possession is an actual thing.
No, I don't. I'm happy to be debated on that.
Sure.
Oh, we love debating here. We love debating here.
I'm thrilled because typically I'm getting ganged up on in this sort of thing. So, nah,
What are you talking about? I believe everything you say.
that's the problem.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, would you like to?
Oh, am I starting? All right, yeah, let's do it.
You are in the rightmost
All
chair.
right. All right, gang. We're beating up on Ed and Lorraine again. I found
Month in a row.
Yeah, so last month, not last week.
Oh.
I'm sleepy. Don't mind me. Last month we talked about the Warren family, and we talked about sort of their fun little track record of making money off the back of people who claim to have had experiences and then screwing them over. And I think I may have found their master stroke in terms of ruining a family's life for their own potential gain.
It gets worse.
Oh, it gets worse. Have you guys ever heard of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson in the 80s? The Devil Made Me Do It case?
No,
I have not.
Okay.
Please tell us.
All right, I'll lay it on you. So this was the first time, and I believe still the only time in American history that a murder trial has ever been completed. Like, not completed. What the fuck word? Hold on. Words. Has been contested on the basis of demonic possession. The defense attorney basically said, "Well, my client didn't do that. They were possessed by the devil."
Oh.
It is a thing that has happened a few times in the UK. And it worked all 3 times, apparently. Like, apparently they were just like,
we're
demon.
crazy people.
Is that pleading the 6th?
Yeah.
Pleading the 666.
Yeah, pleading the 666. Yeah. Damn you. You got the joke before I did.
I did it.
Anyway, so before I tell you about Arnie Johnson, I got to tell you about the family that originally supposedly housed this demon. They were there's this family called the Getzel family. It's in Connecticut in the 70s. It was the Getzel family has 4 children. They had Debbie, the oldest one. They had Chris. They had David, and they had a 4th one whose name escapes me, but he's not super relevant to the story anyway.
Okay.
He more or less just believes everything his mom says, and we'll get to why that can be an issue later. So Debbie, starting out with the story, moved into a new place with her boyfriend at the time, Arnie Johnson, and they were having the rest of the boys over, helping him move, and David, the middle child, was sweeping up in a random floor when all of a sudden he gets knocked back on his ass out of nowhere. He's fallen on the ground. He's shaking, convulsing, speaking in tongues, foaming at the mouth, whatever.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah, the whole kit and caboodle. And he runs out of the house and he like starts rocking back and forth and whatnot. And as they go up to ask him what's wrong, he says like something attacked me. Something, something's in that house, something whatever.
Ghosts and whatnot.
Yeah, good devil, demon kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. So if you are to believe the official story after that, David started to experience your sort of classic possession symptoms. He would start like shaking, convulsing, cursing out his parents and words that he hadn't used before.
Teenager?
11.
Okay.
That's it.
Was it taught now?
Oh, we're getting there. Trust me. And whatever way he claims to not remember after he comes out of these little fits, and he claims that it's this sort of devil that sort of got to him in the house. His parents believe him, or at least his mom does. and they bring in Ed and Lorraine Warren, my two favorite people in the world. So Ed and Lorraine, this part's important. Ed and Lorraine sit them down, and basically in front of David, the child experiencing the possession, talk about some of the things that might happen to him. They like might be like, oh, well, you might be, you know, have you been convulsed? So let me back up. They sit a recorder down, and they start recording, and they say like, oh, well, have you been experiencing convulsions? Have you been experiencing a deeper voice that isn't yours? Have you been attacking your parents? And you know, he's sitting there nodding his head.
Not yet.
He's hey, you have heard this story. And so they're joking, but when the Warrens started coming around, he started to experience these exact symptoms that they're just talking about. And so they end up going through with a bunch of exorcisms. Several of them, 3 lesser exorcisms. Whatever a lesser exorcism is, I couldn't figure out what the difference is between a major and a minor exorcism. Yeah,
they had a coupon.
Yeah, no kidding.
Did they get a discount by the third one?
I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping it was like a BOGO deal.
Yeah,
A punch card.
Yeah, more or less. And so in the last exorcism, apparently he's levitating off the ground. Apparently he's, you know, shaking, convulsing. And Arnie, good old Arnie Johnson, Debbie's boyfriend who was living with her in the demon house, steps in and he says, don't, why leave this kid alone? Take me instead. And then everything stops. And Lorraine Warren looks at him and says, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like, I'm coming at this. There's a really good documentary on Netflix that I watched last night called The Devil on Trial. It's not, there's an article that will be on screen at some point, I'm sure, that sort of goes into like Arnie's side of the case. But if you are looking for more information, give it a watch. Honestly, I thought it was quite good. Yeah. And so this is also the basis for The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Like, I haven't seen the movie. I'm not giving the Warrens any of my money. I mean, the first Conjuring movie is good, but like, I haven't seen this one. I made the conscious choice not to watch it, and I watched the documentary instead. And I recommend you all do the same. I think it's quite good. And so basically, it's total like horror cliche where it's like, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Now the demon's going to come into you, whatever. Fast forward a couple years. Fast forward a couple months. Arnie and his girlfriend Debbie Getzel of the original family have left the Satan house, and they've moved into this apartment that's run by this guy who's also paying both of them to do dog grooming work. A guy by the name of Alan Bono. And
what a name.
Right?
What an Alan Bono.
Right? Killer porn name. Anyway.
Brother to Sonny Bono.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one night, Alan, Arnie, and Debbie start drinking. And then supposedly the story goes that Arnie completely sort of blacks out, can't remember what happened. But when he came back, Alan Bono was dead and had been stabbed about 4 times in the chest.
And the Beatles' White Album was playing?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, backwards. Yeah, Helter Skelter. Anyway, so he claims, and so Debbie comes back to grab the rest of the Getzel family, and sort of they all go there, and Arnie claims, I didn't do this. I don't know what happened. I don't, blah, 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 kind of deal. And then when he eventually goes to trial, the defense that they cooked up with the Warrens, because they're still keeping in contact with them at this point. They're still keeping in contact with the Getzel family at this point. The defense that they come up with is that it was this this demon that had possessed David earlier in life had jumped over onto Arnie, and he was the one that took over and murdered Alan Bono. Now, in an attempt to sort of bolster this defense, the Warrens ended up bringing the tapes of these possessions over to a local radio station, who ended up playing the tapes of sort of like David's exorcisms. And they play them in the documentary. Like they sure sound creepy. They also sound like a 10-year-old boy trying to come up with curse words, which I think
it's like a made up language.
Yeah, personally, he was just like, "You friggin' fucking bitch, I hate you," and it's like, okay, well, this is a 10-year-old trying to come up with.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
What an edgelord.
So these tapes catch fire. They end up
literally catch fire, or
popularity. You're right. Poor choice of words. These tapes catch on in a major way. They end up getting picked up by national broadcasts, and this case ends up becoming a giant media circus. Spawned by these sort of exorcism tapes.
Yes.
Right before they get to trial, the judge basically decides, hey, I'm not going to let any of this stupid devil bullshit into the courtroom. I'm not going to accept it. There's never been a case in America that's been built on demonic possession, whatever. So you're going to have to come up with something else.
Okay.
And so they did. They ended up deciding that it was like a self-defense thing. Then that was how they ended up going with it.
And we will cover that a little bit more after our commercial break.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
It's all
You're
good.
okay.
Okay. So, run it by me again. You're thinking of having a podcast, right? But maybe you don't know how to start a podcast, or maybe you don't know what platform to be on. I know. There's a lot. But maybe you also don't know what kind of budget you'll need, right? Okay. Well, how about this? 216 Creator Studios. Ring a bell? Okay, well, here. There, you can buy a pre-built show. Or, better yet, you could build your own show. Have all the creativity in the world. And the best part about that, it can be all done within your budget. So, no worries. How about this? Start here. Just go to 216creatorstudios.com. And I guarantee you, they will help you find your voice. And we're back.
All right, cool. We're back from break. I've gathered my thoughts, and for the interest of time, I'll condense the rest of this down because there's a couple things that I haven't told you about the case yet. So in the documentary, at the very end, you start to hear from Chris, which is the second oldest child in the family, and the sort of person that I believe tells the real story of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of things they leave out. They sort of in the defense they claim to be this sort of all-American family, and Chris talks about how they're about all the issues specifically with the mother of the family. And as he's going through because the mother had OCD, and so would keep meticulous notes on literally everything that happened in these people's lives.
That's a shame.
And one of the things that they kept on finding was the family has taken their medicine and all is well. Now, have you guys ever heard of a sleeping pill called Sominex?
No.
Okay,
Not
so
that one.
it was a popular sleep aid in the 1960s, 1970s that it turns out the mother was crushing up and putting into the family's food.
That's messed
so
up.
the way that she would do it is that she would set out this big plate that the dad and the rest of the boys would eat from, and then she would have her own food. And so they would all eat out of this big bowl, and the bowl had been spiked with the sleeping medications.
That's fucked up.
And basically one of the
great idea.
One of the biggest hold on. Because one of the big side effects of Sominex is hallucinations.
Oh.
And so picture this, an 11-year-old boy who is unknowingly being drugged.
Oh.
And if we think back to the conversation they had with the Warrens, has started to be planted specific triggers on this is a demon, this is that, this is this.
They were seeding.
Yeah.
Oh.
The mother, it turns out, had been working with Lorraine.
Wow.
To make and you see it. The mother became famous after this. She was doing national news shows with Ed and Lorraine. She was in the documentary they talked about like how she would get to like go out to lunch with Dick Clark and stuff. Like she became a celebrity.
Disgusting.
And basically did it on the back of her family.
Disgusting.
Wow.
And the last little piece of this puzzle is that when this was all over, so Arnie gets sentenced to about 10 to 20 years in prison after he got the case dropped down from a murder 1 to manslaughter 1. The self-defense case kind of worked, I guess. And after all this is over, the Warrens bring in the same person who wrote the Amityville Horror book to write a book about this case. Now, the family was told that this book was going to make them rich, was going to make them millionaires. They received about $4,500 for this book, which is the 80s. That ain't bad.
Yeah,
that's good money
for the rights.
Yeah,
the book?
For the rights. From the publisher.
Okay.
The Warrens received $81,000 from the same publisher.
Oh my god!
And they ripped off $4,500 off the top, and they're still making money off of this case. That book was a national bestseller, and they made it into a Conjuring movie.
Yep.
So that money is going right into the Warrens, into the pocket now of the Warrens' grandson, who did appear in the documentary.
Wow.
I hate these people.
Yep.
Warren, I tend not to believe more of the supernatural stuff that we posit on the show. But I have a lot of grace for people who do believe it genuinely. If you believe that you've genuinely had like a supernatural or religious experience or something, like even though I don't believe that it happened, I'm not going to sit here and call you like an idiot or a bad person or whatever. It's really not my life. It's none of my business. I have no tolerance. I have no patience for these sorts of people, for people who will come in and take advantage of people like that to make their money, to make their fame, and to essentially sort of buy their own immortality, like off the backs of people like this.
I think it's one of these things where it's like so many of these now charlatans, it starts out, maybe they did believe. They did believe of possession initially, not necessarily of this case, but like
the 11-year-old did.
Well, but in other words, it's like, and then they saw the money that could be made from that case, and then that got them fame, and so then when people started calling, they started saying, yeah, we can come and see that, and just grew their fame. It just got out of hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're horrible people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we spent like the entire last episode, my entire segment was just me going, they're con artists, pretty much for like 20 minutes. We are not fans.
Yeah, it's the classic, the preachers that would bring their big tent like to different areas and take money from like poor people that don't have any money, but they think they're gonna get a better crop this year if they give this church
prosperity gospel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I talked about it last month. Actually, there's a really good documentary about that sort of thing called Margot that came out in the 70s about a child preacher from that movement who basically grew up and then re-infiltrated it as an adult who like no longer believed in it. Was like, this stuff is deeply harmful.
Yeah.
It's really good. Just give it a watch.
Yeah.
So Miley, what con artist do you have?
My con artists are nuns. So
Ooh,
this is
more like convent artists.
I think we just found the title for our episode, actually. So this is an old one. This is literally took place in 1632 to 1634. But this is a pretty well-known one because it was just it was for the time it was super widespread as far as like publicity and news. So this took place in Ledon, France. I'm sorry for my mispronunciation. I don't speak French. But essentially,
we don't speak coward on this show.
Oof.
No, I'm joking.
Artist either.
Yeah, I'm with you. as a British person.
Yeah.
I like your croissants, but that's about it. So this took place in a convent, and essentially what was happening was it was a convent of young nuns, as a convent tends to have, and all of the nuns were like relatively wealthy. They all came from like relatively wealthy families, and at like on some random day they started making note of weird things happening in the convent. Like there was someone saying, I saw the vision of a priest that died recently asking me to pray for him and pray for his salvation. And then another nun was like, I saw the same thing. And then there was like a story about like an orb knocking down nuns in a hallway. Like,
wait, nun bowling? Satan's like, damn it, I didn't pick up the spare.
Instead of a strike, it just appears as a cross.
Yes. What do you think the
what?
The turkey imagery is on that? Like the little graphic. Do you think it's just like Satan going like, look at that stuff?
Angels.
Yeah, little angels.
Yeah, it's like the little pins going up to heaven.
No, it's the three wise men.
There it is.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, they started reporting some really weird things happening in the convent. But then the nuns started reporting that they were starting to see their sisters being possessed, the convulsions, the like shaking, they're like going crazy. Some of them were reporting that they were like speaking full sentences and their like tongues were like black and like pimply.
I think it's the plague.
It probably was the plague, to be completely honest. But like they were like reporting this, and I guess some of them were starting to say like that they like say their names as in the demons' names. And when they started bringing in like priests for like an exorcism, people outside of the gates started hearing about it. And they started to bring the sisters out into the public for these exorcisms. It became a public event where like a couple thousand people would show up for this mass exorcism, and they would perform them regularly. I'm going to say perform because this feels like performance art.
I mean, to be fair, what the hell else do these people have to do?
No, but people were like traveling in.
Yeah, what else did they have to do?
Cow tipping?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm going to look at my Bible again.
Similar to a witch, right?
Yeah.
This is the 16th century. There probably wasn't actual Bibles.
Probably. But so they started eventually, after they having these exorcisms for a period of time, they started noticing like there was a certain pattern to the exorcisms. person would be tied loosely in chair. They would start like thrashing and like, you know, start screaming and yelling. And then the priest would come in and then like gain ground on the person. And then they'd be like, we are no match against Jesus, you know, that sort of thing. And then they would like scream and then all of a sudden they were cured. And they kind of honestly, it kind of reminds me of pro wrestling because they kind of started making a storyline for themselves.
Yeah.
Like one particular nun, I cannot remember her name for the life of me.
Sister something.
Sister, French name.
Sister.
Mary Louise.
Yeah, Sister Mary Louise. Not her name, but we'll go with that. They started like assigning different, like they had like their demons that were assigned to them. Like one of them was like, I have Lazarus in me, and I have like a list of them. There were like 7 different demons in them, and they had like storylines. But the craziest part of this whole story is that at some point in time, someone was like, who cursed all these nuns? And there was a priest in the area who was kind of caught up in some scandals.
Cool. He was the heel.
He had a priest in a scandal. he had gotten an aristocrat's daughter pregnant, which is the least priestly thing you could possibly do. I don't know what I feel like.
Historically, I would argue no. I would argue that's actually a pretty priestly thing to do.
But
how kind of him.
He's a giver.
Yeah.
Oh, we gave it to her all right.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, it's penis inspection day.
Yeah.
I am the only.
It's Rowdy Piper.
I am the only woman in a room of so many people.
Sorry.
Yeah, the alpha male.
No. I don't even want to hear it. Don't play this delicate flower shit with me now. All right, that's not.
Look at me.
Don't act like you are just as bad as we are.
Yeah, you can't keep drawing that same card twice. Yeah. That's not fair.
Anyway, they asked who cursed these nuns, and one of them was like him, the priest that a couple years ago impregnated an aristocrat's daughter. And they were like, what's your proof? You want to know what these people pulled out?
Yes, very much.
The next exorcism they had, they pulled out a document with
the proof.
With
the signed contract.
It was a signed contract with his name and Satan's name on it.
That's awesome.
Satan. Yes.
Was it written in crayon?
Satan was spelled with a backwards S.
Red crayon.
Yeah,
you want to know the best part of this?
Please, yes. I'm on the edge of my seat.
For in layman's terms, they were like, "Oh, this is just a copy, though. The other one is filed away."
This is
photocopy.
It's like Tenacious D. This is just a tribute.
Yeah, but they were like, "This is just a copy of it. The other one is filed away in hell."
Don't worry about it.
In hell? Yeah, like Satan has a really good document system, apparently. Yeah.
He is a good assistant.
Yeah.
Jimmy over there, he makes the copies real good.
Phenomenal.
To be fair, I have known a lot of paralegals. There are probably a lot of them in hell.
Yeah. Allegedly.
He's got his pick. No, not allegedly. He's got his pick.
Yeah. But this apparently was enough. And they were like, well, do you have any more proof?
What more proof do you need?
The document.
I got the contract.
See, there it is.
His name is on it.
See there, John Q. Satan, right there. Come on.
There. But they were like, well, he has the mark of the seal on
the seal.
Not like the seal on the document, like the little stamp.
Wait, Satan has a notary public?
Apparently, he has a filing system.
I'd like to call to the stand, Satan. It's just a goat.
The bureaucracy in hell is phenomenal, apparently. Everything is just...
And this contract for the soul must be filled out in triplicate.
Yeah, please use a red pen, please. But they said that the seal, like the physical mark of the seal, was on his butthole, and
Ooh.
inside
Kinky.
his testicles.
Very kinky.
How would they know?
How did they snap that one?
It was demons, I guess.
Demon did it.
Demons. But they actually took like needles
Ooh.
and stabbed him to check.
Oh.
And
Ooh.
at that point, someone was like, hey guys, this is going a little far.
This is like getting into like witchcraft trial territory.
Yeah.
It is. But
Some people pay extra.
yes.
True.
There's always a crowd for it. But they
Lane for it.
by the end of it, because it only lasted like 2 years, which is still a long time for this to happen. This is a long stint of time for all of this to occur. But several of the nuns ended up going on tours to show like that they had like their demons' names written on their hand. And like they would like go around and like it was like a book release almost, like this is the hand.
Oh, my demon name is wearing down. I'll have to.
Yeah, literally. But they were like profiting off of this. And really, the only thing that I've seen as far as like, because like this is so performance art. Honestly, this feels like Catholic Church WWE.
Yeah, no,
Like,
these are the scariest thing of all. 17th century theater kids.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I admire their hustle.
Yeah, but the one thing that I could find as far as like why even do this is that particular priest impregnated an aristocrat's daughter, and many of the sisters were aristocrats whose parents were in the government and, you know, held positions of power. And so that is the only conclusion I could find and that I could come to. It's not obviously like a real authentic story of possession, but I did think that it was the funniest one.
Absolutely.
And super interesting. I highly...
What you gonna do, brother, when the Lord of Darkness runs wild on you?
It was me. It was me all along.
It was me, Austin.
I was the devil all along.
Yeah.
The Hauer power.
Oh,
I
gosh.
highly encourage
The
any of
Undertaker
you
shows up.
listening to read more into it, because I couldn't cover everything that went into this. There's so much more, but it is so funny.
How did it end?
Fine.
Like,
It ended by them just like going, "Oh, we're fine. We're done now."
because he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. We're done now. That's literally how it ended. Like the priests had spent years, you know, performing these exorcisms, and they're like tired, and they were just like, "Oh, they're gone now. They're out.
We're all great now.
We're fine."
Yes.
How are you?
they're like, "We're gonna go on tour now and show people our hands and like, you know, show people that we were possessed."
Nothing better to do.
No, well, they're rich. They are literally rich women who are encaged in a convent.
Oh,
Convent.
So it's WWE, the worldwide exorcisms.
Yeah. It's
My punk name in college.
Lord, I don't know if I could top that, but I sure was gonna try. But there's some con artistry going on here. But have you guys heard of the Terracotta Army in China?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you sent this message, I was like, "What the hell does this have to do with possession?"
Yeah, we literally stopped, like looked at each other in their car, and we were like, "I don't quite understand, but I'm fully supportive."
Lay it on us,
There's
please.
some stuff. So, Nico, if you could really quick just pull up a good picture of what this kind of site looks like, just so offer a good visual.
The main one on the right is probably the classic one.
Yeah.
So, right off the bat, if you're staring at this and wondering, man, I have seen this before, and yes, it is from Wendy Wu, Homecoming Warrior, the classic Disney film.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is.
And yes, so just to get that out of the way, but some real quick details about this. So what you're looking at is known as the Terracotta Army. It is made up of about 6,000 to 8,000 individually carved statues of soldiers, chariots, and horses. Massive scale, and was discovered about 50 years ago by about 6-7 farmers. And it is through historical records they were able to pin it down to it was built between, I think, or around, it was like 246 BCA. And it was built for the first emperor of unified China, Qin Shi Huang, like as his kind of tomb.
Yep.
And I mean, you hear a lot about, great kings, emperors, etc., who have like figures and these massive tombs, but the scale of this is insane. And going through all like what I can see of like any historical records that have been dug up, it's like it's supposed to be much bigger, and there is yet more to be explored. Just one part of it is the tomb of the emperor himself has yet to be fully excavated because of the mass amounts of mercury surrounding his tomb. And they they can't get to it. It's like there's probably treasure, all sorts of like who knows what, like
there's got to be a lot of history
they just can't get to it because it is too dangerous. And the mercury is by design. When they first built this tomb, as maybe not necessarily as like a safeguard, but like because they wanted, when they built this tomb, it was supposed to portray like almost like a city entirely carved out from the earth. And we're talking not just the statues themselves, but we're talking like buildings, rivers, which is why the mercury, because it lasts forever. And to this day, why can't they can't get to it because that dang emperor. So
that dang emperor wanted his mercury there.
It's true. And you're talking about the scale of this, and it's again through any historical records that they've been, that they've pulled up, is this was built by about almost 750,000 people. Like, the common number I see is like 700,000 people like contributed to this over their 3 decades. And here is where the darkness comes into play. So yes, I'm coming to the dark side. And these when they finished building this whole tomb, essentially, they essentially buried the people who worked on this with the tomb alive. And as like, call it preservation, call it like, burying the artists with their work. That's what really piqued my interest, because you hear a lot of folklore revolving on this about, hey, the spirits of the people buried alive are within the statues. And it's like there's no way of knowing how many, but when you say 700,000 people worked on this, it's like how many people did they bury with their creation? And to something this scale, and again, like whether you believe in possessions, spirits, the afterlife, what have you, you can't deny that, like, through historical records and through this grand scale, it's very creepy. It is very like it's. I mean, again, like I mentioned earlier, you hear about like people being buried alive, with their tombs or what have you in ancient times, but nothing to this scale.
So I think it's interesting. So the Egyptians, it was generally a smaller number of people were buried in there because they were generally the people that knew the path to get there, and they it was an honor. It was an honor to be buried there.
Privilege.
If you had 700,000 people carving those things, I'm thinking those people didn't want to be in there.
Or they didn't know.
Not everyone.
They didn't. Yeah. They didn't. I'm sure they thought, oh, I'm building this for my emperor,
right?
And then I'm going to get to leave.
Yeah.
Like I'm building this statue, and then I'm going to get out.
So do you think when they, because I've seen this like many times, but like, so do you think when they were carving, and there's like 700,000 of your friends carving as well, do you think they carved I'm going to make it look like Charlie over there?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
They had to have something to go off of. And with that many people probably working all next to each other for 3 decades.
Yeah.
Like, and there's probably a lot of people like, come and gone and whatever, new people. And it's like, oh, I'm just going to kind of do it. It's like, oh no, this guy left. Now I got to do it all over again.
What will be like horses? Like, how do you get the horse to stand still?
Yeah. Do you think some of them were like, hey, look, I gave I gave Charlie's statue a gigantic wart.
Like, if you look down his hands, he's doing the middle finger.
So I think the idea that, like, you know, the lore of people, the workers' souls being trapped inside of those statues is fairly creepy. And
Absolutely.
it, like, in, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of like movies and shows of like undead or like statues coming to life and stuff like that. And that's what I think of. But you're talking about 6,000 to 8,000 of these.
Yeah.
And it's like, who knows what kind of, you know, bad juju is going on over there.
6,000 to 8,000 of them that we know of.
Yeah, that we know
because we can't get closer.
Yeah,
so there might be more.
Yeah, and the way going like researching this, when they were done, they essentially covered up with, like, you know, they planted trees, grass, like all around it, just to kind of let it blend into the environment. So fast forward to about the 1970s, when there was a village nearby and they were trying to dig a well, and that's how these were essentially discovered. Is they were just digging a hole and they came across a head of a statue.
Good God, that's terrifying.
Wow.
That's a horrifying discovery. Gotta tell you.
Yeah, and that's like part 2 of, you know, sort of the kind of darkness surrounding this is kind of I mean, some of it is like just real life kind of con artistry and stuff like that, because it was 7 people that kind of discovered this. And what happened?
Can I say one thing?
Oh, sure.
So look at the screen.
Yeah.
Was it the kid that drew the horse on the left?
Had to have been.
I mean, it's. I'm sorry. That looks like shit.
Yeah.
Like,
He's doing his best.
it's like
He's doing his best.
Like thousands of years old. So
It's like, this was Quan. He wasn't really. I mean, you know, we're gonna put it in with the rest of them, but like,
put it in the
we're gonna put this one. Yeah,
We'll
we're
put
gonna
it in
put
the
this. We're gonna put this one in the back.
well, I mean, you have 700,000 people. Not all of them are gonna be artists, right?
Yeah.
No, this is
Sorry.
No, it's okay. The Emperor wants this in the back of the tomb.
It does kind of look like one of those like horses that you would ride like in front of a store.
do you think that there's like one statue that, like, the human statue looks really realistic, but then the horse next to it just looks like a blob because they don't know how to do animals?
Like Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Was the theory that
Oh God.
Yeah.
and the spirits would possess the statues when
Yep.
Well,
golden army of
it-
White Two?
Yeah.
that
to defend
and
the king, pretty much. Yeah.
that and like old time logic is like, this is the army to protect the emperor going into the afterlife.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So,
and I feel like there's a weird sort of historical significance to statues having a soul of sorts, or gaining a soul, like possession, and being able to, like, I'm blanking on words, but essentially being able to, like, ward off spirits and stuff. It's a spiritual thing. So even if the goal wasn't for the physical statues to, like, come to life and start attacking people, maybe it's like more of like a spiritual thing. Maybe that emperor did some bad things, and let's be real, probably did.
yeah.
Almost certainly.
Almost certainly. So
First thing you said would have been allowed.
So here,
sure would have, but
So here's where the con artistry comes into play. Is after the discovery, the lives of these 7 people who discovered it, like things did not go well. 2 of them died, I think, untimely deaths. One of them committed suicide. And the 4 that are actually still remaining alive, there's a lot of details and stuff, but essentially they got jack squat for discovering
It's
this.
China.
Well,
They were never getting anything.
Yeah, so it's just like, it's just the tale of like the businessmen, the government took their land, the villages destroyed, and that's where real life kind of comes into play of, you know, should it have even been discovered? And that's what the people who are still alive question it. It's like they wish they never had, because that's just where their lives took a turn for the worse. And it's like, well, it's probably, again, something this scale. It's like, who isn't to say that, like, you know, they should have just left it alone. So,
that is a frequent theme that I think should be followed, is if it's a tomb or someone's grave, leave it alone.
again, it started with uncovering a singular head.
Yeah.
And it turns into that massive scale over the course of 50 years, and it's still not done because they can't excavate anymore because it's too dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's like a tale of just, possession and real life, scummery and
Scummery.
Scummery.
Yeah, I like the word.
And it's sad because, I mean, like, think about, you discover something that massive, and obviously there's a lot of tales, not just with something like this, but, companies and restaurants and whatever, is just, the people who discovered to get nothing.
Yeah.
And, the one thing I always think of is the original creator of Batman, or co-creator of Batman, died penniless. And that's essentially what, some of the, the people who have passed on who discovered this, that's how they died. And
he
it's
got
like,
recognized after his death.
yeah. And, hopefully I'd like to think that someday, like, some royalties could come about. I mean, it's hard to say, like a la Bill Finger of Batman.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a constant thing, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I said certainly in China, it's unlikely that any of those people will ever see any benefit from it.
No.
Yeah, because it draws in, I think I saw, it draws in like 2 million people a year to see this.
I remember in the 80s in England, they had a Terracotta Army traveling show.
Oh, really?
Where it's like, there was like 400 or 500 either statues of the men or the horses or whatever, and it was in the British Museum, and it was massive. And you go, that was massive, and it was a few hundred of them, and there's thousands of them. It's like, it's amazing to think the scale of what that is.
Did you actually get a chance to see them?
Yeah. Like
that's
when I
awesome.
was a kid.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's I don't know whether they I'll say lend it out anymore, but I know about in the 80s or early 90s, there was a big kind of, they went around the world. So.
There was a circulation.
Yeah.
But that was a really interesting take on possession. Item possession is something that is not nearly talked about the most. I feel like the
doesn't get enough headlines.
No, it does. It really doesn't. And it's I mean, it's kind of hard to when you have nuns being possessed and little children being possessed, and it's but but it's. I liked that one a lot. That was an interesting. It was an interesting topic.
I'm glad we were able to get one thing of possession in here that wasn't like totally Jesus.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I do appreciate it.
We need
God for that.
Yeah. Hey, no kidding.
we need balance, y'all.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're coming up to a close here. It's been so nice having you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
for stopping by.
Where
Thank you
can
very
the people
much.
find you on social media, online?
Basically, ghoulishmortals.com is the website. Stores Ghoulish Mortals on 228 West Main Street, St. Charles, Illinois. We have YouTube channels. Oh, and I have to plug my other podcast.
Absolutely.
My buddies and I, we do a podcast called Midnight Movie Distillery. We're on YouTube and obviously all the audio ones. Our love of movies and alcohol. We pair alcoholic beverages with horror movies.
That sounds so fun.
And have a discussion. And we do different things on our channel. We've just started releasing like a trivia series, and so yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll be tuning in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But thank you guys so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. As always, please like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.
And Bob Kane is a son of a